Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
And I'm John Cena Sr.
It is the month of December. The holidays are here. I can hear the jingle bells ringing. We'll be back with a fabulous Friday installment of Wrestling Insiders. Wrestling fans, can you feel it? The 9th annual Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive Cyber Fan Fest explodes into December. We can't bring you a live wrestling event in 2020, but we're bringing you a plethora of live interviews and virtual autograph signings to continue our tradition of updating Santa's GPS to find every kid's home. This Friday night, December the 11th, we're joined by the massive Warlord in studio. This Saturday, December the 12th, Native American Tatanka joins us for the toy drive for the very first time. Then this Sunday, December the 13th, it's a doubleheader of Future Star Superstars is the new Impact Wrestling World Champion Rich Swann joins us for the first time in studio in 8 years, along with up-and-comer Wheeler Yuta, who recently competed in the Ring of Honor Pure Title Tournament, along with competing here in Boston Wrestling MWF. John Cena Sr. will also have a live episode and is working the phone lines on the North Pole to try and make this year's drive even bigger. Individual autographs and an all-inclusive VIP package is available online now. If you order your signed photos before or during the live appearances, the superstars will sign them on the air and then mailed directly to your home. If you want a VIP package but you missed some of the superstars' live appearances, don't worry. They've signed enough photos and posters for us to ship to you by December the 19th. If that wasn't enough, we're working on items for our annual mega raffle where one lucky fan will walk away with a huge jackpot of prizes, all to benefit the toy drive and honor the memory of the late, great Paul Bearer, who helped myself and John Cena Sr. start this endeavor in 2012. Head on over to BostonWrestling.com to get your orders in now. Let's create smiles in 2020.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
Hi, wrestling fans. Welcome to another Wrestling Insiders. Johnny, hope everything is well in your fabulous world.
It's fabulous.
Almost like that 80s song, Wake Me Up Before You Go-Go. With you, it's almost Wake Me Up Before You My Go-Go. Imagine finding that under your tree. Ruth Bader
Moniz wouldn't like that one, first of all.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yeah, Moniz wouldn't like that. That would be hard.
Moniz is a classy lady.
Moniz is from New Jersey and New York. She'll leave you a bottle of water with a ribbon on it. That's not a good thing. Don't drink the water.
Don't eat the cheese at Shaw's, as they say.
Oh!
Right? All right, Johnny, the fans have the questions pouring in. They love your input about the happenings in the world of professional wrestling. One that really got me irritated, maybe is the best way to put it, Drew McIntyre. I am not sold on Drew McIntyre as the guy that WWE can make the centerpiece of their company, but he's a relatively young guy. He's got great size. He's good looking. He has a certain appeal to him with his accent. They did a great job making Brock Lesnar, not to paraphrase the Iron Sheik, but Brock Lesnar was humbled by Drew McIntyre on 2 occasions, at both the Royal Rumble and at WrestleMania 36 this year. In my astute opinion, Drew McIntyre should not lose or should not have lost a professional wrestling match until live fans were let back into the arenas so WWE could gauge how over he was or how unover he was, to see if he is someone that could be A, top guy, or B, someone they could really feature as a superstar, one of the featured presentations of the show. What do? Because there are so many pay-per-views, as we noted, I think on the 3rd encounter on pay-per-view with Randy Orton, what happens? 1, 2, 3, Randy Orton becomes the 14-time world champion. Now, as a wrestling fan, I enjoy Randy Orton more than I do Drew McIntyre. I didn't think it was a bad thing, but I'm looking at it as a business point of view. So what happens 6 days before Survivor Series is it's the best of the best, Raw versus SmackDown, even though they just switched brands several weeks ago. We're supposed to believe that they have this loyalty and this dedication to these brands. Drew McIntyre regains the championship from Randy Orton on Raw. For no apparent reason, this title change came to be. Randy Orton did nothing with it in the several weeks that he held the title. Johnny, do you think WWE made a mistake by having Drew McIntyre lose for no apparent reason?
You know, who understands the writing in WWE?
Not me.
I don't understand it. I would concur with what you're saying. I think I like the long title run. I think that they did make a mistake by not letting McIntyre drop it. And we talked about it before in a couple of shows previously. And I predicted, if you remember, he lost it, but he's going to get it back. And you said, I don't think so, I don't know. But guess what happened? Once again, the fabulous one, John Cena Sr., comes through with a prediction. Why they did what they did, I have no idea. Orton is over as a heel. They want to bring McIntyre in as the face. Chasing the title sometimes, as was proven with Cena, is better than having the title.
Well, this chase resulted in about 3 weeks of television.
Lou, but there again, what have I just said?
Yeah.
There again, where's the storyline? Where's the pop? Where's the awe? What's the reason? Other than the fact that McIntyre stated, I don't know if you've been following me, I'll get it back. Well, of course you're going to get it back. But
Well,
now, who's he going to face?
If you wanted to sell me on the fact, okay, we want to put the title on Orton because it's Survivor Series, we do champion versus champion, and we don't want to have McIntyre lose to Roman.
Who's he fighting at Survivor Series?
It would have been Drew and Roman.
Right. Now who's his opponent?
When Drew won the title back, it became champion versus champion, McIntyre versus Roman again. So,
Want to make it a three-way?
but they don't do that at Survivor Series. It's best versus the
I
best,
understand
Raw
that.
versus SmackDown.
I understand that.
Yeah.
So why don't we put in 2 Raw and 2 SmackDown?
Make it a 4-way.
There you go.
Well, it'd be a cheap way out of having one of the champions lose, that's
Thank
for
you.
sure.
Thank you very much.
But why go cheap when you could have been creative and not put yourself in this predicament to begin with? If you wanted to tell me that you wanted to do a prolonged run, maybe that Drew was going to battle with Orton up until, I don't know if they would have gone all the way to WrestleMania, but just say maybe Royal Rumble, where there were going to be twists and turns in this feud, where McIntyre was going to have to overcome the world to regain the championship, maybe you could have sold me on that. But for Orton to hold it for 3 weeks, for Orton to do virtually nothing with the title, and nothing against Randy Orton, it's just the way it was booked, for him to do nothing of significance during this title run, all you did was hurt Drew McIntyre. I don't think Randy Orton's been elevated because he's a now 14-time world champion instead of 13. I don't think most people can even keep track of something like that. So you hurt McIntyre. You didn't do anything to help Orton. Where do you go in Reign 2 with Drew McIntyre?
Well, personally, I don't think the fans really care because the titles don't mean anything anymore. Fans,
I'll give you that.
Nobody cares. It's like, okay, big deal. You got the title. How long are you going to hold it for? Maybe a month if I'm lucky. You know, I think Brock Lesnar probably held it the longest, which really gave it some meaning because now the real reason to watch was I want to see somebody kick the beast from the East's ass. That's what the real draw was. And it's not there. Orton's a great performer, probably one of the best heels around next to my friend Bray Wyatt. I mean, you take a look at what's going on. It's there. They're not using it. So to give Orton the title and let him hold it for 3 weeks, I guess the question becomes why? But it must have been best for business because ultimately Reigns is going to take it at Survivor Series.
Well, the title's not on the line.
He's going to take the match at Survivor Series.
Okay.
Yeah, he's going to do that. Then
Well, if we're wrong, just note we're taping this before Survivor Series.
Yeah. I have no idea. I mean, you know what? I mean, you probably tell me more than I'll see. But my whole thing is that, you know, logically you can see what's trying to happen here. He's a legend.
I'm glad you can see the logic because I don't.
Orton's scheduled as a legend killer.
Right.
The one thing I'm not happy with is they've allowed the kick in the head to come back. Orton's been kicking in the head. That is not a good move. I don't care what
lived it.
What's that?
You lived it.
I lived the kick in the head. You know, there's a long story behind that. They all think it was me. I looked at it several times. I'll leave it up to anybody's opinion. Orton's a legend killer. He's taken them all down. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Orton that breaks Ric Flair's record.
No.
Somebody's got to do it.
No, you know who it's going to be.
No, I put money on that right now.
If they were to go to that length, and I'll say this, I hope they don't, but if they go to that length, you know who it'll be. Did you ever think that someday the one that came from your loins would be in that discussion?
I have 5.
Well, one of them.
Yeah.
One of them would be in the discussion of being the man.
Yep.
As a wrestling fan growing up,
No.
as someone that helped promote some live WWF events in the 70s before your kids were even born, did you ever think that one of your kids would be in the running of being perhaps, if not, maybe not the greatest superstar in wrestling history, but the man with the most world championship wins in the history of the industry? I mean, you can't even dream that up. What a life you've had.
Anyway.
It is fabulous. You live the gimmick.
Anyway. Back to the situation.
Orton.
To give Orton's the legend killer, so for him to come around with that win, I think that was a surprise. Most people thought McIntyre was going to beat the shit out of Orton. Didn't happen. Nice little swerve. I would have rather seen a fake pin, shoulder comes up. But if you want to keep the title thing going, if you want to keep it moving, but the whole thing is there's no rhyme or reason to what they're doing. And I think that's your point to this thing. Roman Reigns is going to go into Survivor Series. Thank God they're using him the way they're using him. He's doing a great job, Roman Reigns.
The tribal chief that sits at the head of the table.
It's working. If Vince would have done this when it started, there'd have been no issues at all with this kid. It's working. Now his next thing has to be to grab the title. There's no question about it.
He has the Universal title.
Going to go big time.
You want him to have both. I'd like to see them unify the titles and have one champion that competes on both shows, but that's one man's opinion.
How about if he does get both titles and his tribal chief makes a decision that there can't be 2 champions, he's the chief, he's in boss, and there will only be one now, and he unveils the new WWE Undisputed Championship.
I loved when they did it with your son, but that was at a time when they didn't have 2 separate brands. Everybody just competed on everything, and it generally sucked. But I'd like to see there be 2 individual brands with one world champion, and then you have a U.S. champion on one show and an intercontinental champion on the other show. And the same thing with the tag teams, where they only have a limited amount of tag teams to begin with, have one set of tag team champions like they do the women, and have them float. One man's opinion. But where do you see Drew McIntyre going? I'd like to see him have a nice run. It's disappointing that the first one had to end, but you can only work with what you're working with in the moment. From here through WrestleMania, do you think they could hold off on him and The Fiend until Mania for the Raw main event?
They should. I think there should be a program now with he and The Fiend. If they're going to do it right. But then again, like I say, who can figure out the writing? I'm with you. I don't think it should be a SmackDown and a Raw. That's only because they want to get TV in all these spots. So
I think it almost, when it's done right and they're kept apart, I think it's like when it's like 2 different companies, which is how it should be.
I agree with you. And you should have 2 separate managers, general managers. Right. Yeah, it should work. Anyway, I think McIntyre's got a decent future ahead of him. He's got a good look. He understands the business. But I'm so worried about him because look what they did to Braun Strowman. All I can say is this. Braun, great human being, they dumped him in the garbage. Here he is. He comes across as this huge, giant man, over with the fans. I mean, over.
Over.
And what happened?
They dressed him up as an elf.
By
little Santa Claus outfit.
Gone.
Wandering around New York City.
Gone.
They sports entertained Braun Strowman.
Gone.
And it's a shame because, again, there's a believable guy. Look at the size.
Be great.
Look at the intensity.
Well, AEW's knocking.
Well, I don't know what name he'd go by there, but I know he signed a hefty renewal, from what I was told, for 5 years. I'm not sure when that kicked in, but I think he's under contract for the foreseeable future. It's just a disappointment where he was someone the fans could believe in for a little bit, and then you take it away from him. And I think that's another reason why you've seen the decline in the popularity. You give someone, an individual for fans to believe in, then you take them away.
can I say? That's just the way it is.
It's sad.
That's why I said there's no wow factor anymore. There's no pop factor anymore. I mean, Drew McIntyre
Would
and
you
Randy,
give Drew a lengthy second title run?
I would, yeah.
How
yeah.
long would you go? Would you go through Mania? Would you go longer?
I might go right through Mania. I think if you let him have at least a 6-month run, I think that'd be nice. That'd be great. Give some credibility to the title. This is what's wrong. There's no credibility to the title. Hey, Johnny Fabulous, John Cena Sr. is coming in. Bang. Looks like Arquette. I win the U.S. Championship. How long are you going to hold it for? Well, I looked at the next program, I guess 2 weeks. What the hell? It's like that, what is it, the 24/7 title?
Oh.
What a joke.
Oh.
You know what? I feel so bad because all it is it's a put down. It's a put down to the business. It's a put down to the holder. It's a put down to the title. It's just a big old put down. Whoever came up with that idea.
What is supposed to be fun about having undercard enhancement talent chasing each other around buildings, trying to roll each other up on the floor to win a title that means nothing?
And non-wrestlers.
And non-wrestlers that win it too.
This is insane. You know what? It's gone to the extreme where professional wrestling isn't wrestling. I mean, bring back wrestling and you'll get the fans. You'll get the 10 to 15-year-old fans. Bring back the mystique. And I don't care if it's entertainment. You can bring back the mystique. You know what? People might think I'm giving my son all the... I thought that Bray Wyatt, John Cena Funhouse thing was a great match.
The one that was at this year's WrestleMania?
You didn't like that?
No.
No. Was it Mania? Yeah. I thought that...
The one this year?
I thought that was good. I liked that.
It was like a bad dream on acid.
Well, but they went back. Certainly they buried the shit out of Cena. He brought up all the bad points. I thought it was good.
If they wanted to get that match done effectively to me, I think it would have been better off John just doing a clean job in the middle other than... I still don't understand what it was supposed to be. It was awful. I don't like the cinematic matches, but
that's why.
The Undertaker one was fine.
What needed that?
Him and AJ Styles.
AJ, that was a good match.
Everything since then, it wasn't a match, it was a movie. Anything since then, I have not liked. I don't like cinematic wrestling.
Everything you're watching in wrestling is a movie.
You understand? You know what I mean? The difference between the live art form that we see and edited together clips. That's why I didn't like the one that I thought was the worst was when they did the Swamp match with Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman. Did you see that one? The night that Ray had his eye pulled out. And Angie Mysterio is still trying to speak her first words now at the age of...
All I know is this. When you get to the point where you got to pull somebody's eye out of their socket, first of all, there'd have been so much blood all over that friggin' mat. Secondly, if you're going to use a ping pong ball, at least use a glass eye so it looks somewhere near reasonable. Patch the guy's eye up. Make it look real. Awful.
To their credit, they have covered his one eye since then. So at least they're selling it. I don't give them credit for much, but at least they've done that part right. They haven't...
Stupidity.
I'm not saying it was good.
So now Rollins, remember this, Rey Mysterio's chasing you. Why? Because he's got an eye out for you. Baloney. Please. You know what? People
one of the worst feuds in years with two great talents, which is the shame.
Yeah, they wasted it. And all it is so Dominic can get over.
And no one really... I've told you before what's going to happen with Dominic is they're going to overexpose him. It's going to be like Eugene. It's going to be like Zach Gowen. It's going to be like all those little niche characters that get over pretty decent for a while, and then they've been shoved down fans' throats for so long, they throw it up and they don't want anything more to do with it.
No, it's gone. They just write it off.
He should be sent to the Performance Center to train and be taken off of television immediately.
I agree with you.
One man's opinion.
I'm sorry, I agree with you.
What do you see as the SmackDown main event at WrestleMania for the Tribal Chief? There's been talks of Goldberg, where Goldberg is under contract.
Oh, God.
What's wrong with Goldberg?
Oh, please.
No?
Oh, my God.
Well, look at the baby faces they have on SmackDown. Who do you go with?
Goldberg.
Daniel
Please.
Bryan? Kevin Owens?
I would rather see Reigns against Bryan, at least I know I'd get a match.
You don't-
Goldberg, come on.
I tried to get it out of you, and I tended to believe you, but there was internet chatter that Lesnar was going to come back to work Reigns at WrestleMania with Heyman in Reigns' corner and you in Lesnar's corner. But you
There's only
denied
one person that will ever be and should ever be in Brock Lesnar's corner, and that's Paul Heyman. No question in my mind about it.
So you don't think Lesnar coming back alone would work?
No. No.
Not even with you?
First of all, I'm not capable of it.
What do you mean you're not capable of it?
You know what? You can't give
You're
the
a good
world.
mouthpiece.
I'm not saying I'm not, but you can't give the world to Paul Heyman and then try to fill the void with a John Cena Sr. You know what I'm trying to say? When you got the best of the best, you stay with the best of the best. So my thought is, if he's coming back, it would be with the best of the best, Paul Heyman. And if Reigns comes back, you want to put who in his corner when he comes back, when he goes against Lesnar? Who do you want to put as his
Heyman.
man?
Keep Heyman with Reigns and put you with Lesnar.
I think the better thing is he now manages Reigns and Heyman. I mean, Lesnar.
You want him to manage both?
No. Now, Heyman's forced to make a decision.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Where does the allegiance stand? Who are you really going to stand behind? The man that's going to win, maybe, or the man that you brought to all the championships? You're in the middle.
I think that's a good idea down the road. I almost think that the Reigns-Heyman alliance is almost too new for that storyline. You know what I mean?
I agree.
They haven't been together that
No,
long.
I agree.
It's almost like when we just talked about with Survivor Series. Oh, it's Raw versus SmackDown. Even though we just did the brand switch 2 or 3 weeks ago, everybody's has these alliances to these brands.
I still would not want to see Reigns against Lesnar at WrestleMania. It's been done.
Or Goldberg.
I'll tell you what. If Goldberg fights Reigns at WrestleMania, the fans shouldn't buy it.
Really?
They shouldn't buy the WrestleMania pay-per-view. Please.
You got a good storyline built in, though. What was the main event for last year's WrestleMania? Goldberg comes out, you're the tribal chief, you're the bitch that went home and missed WrestleMania, and I kicked Braun, well, no, he lost to Braun Strowman, but I had to wrestle Braun Strowman on 6 days' notice last year because you went home like a pussy. You have a storyline,
And I did it because I think I'm great. The smoke comes out my nose, and I get big money. Please. You know what? There's another guy that needs to understand when it's over, it's over. I wouldn't buy a ticket to see him.
What's wrong with Goldberg?
And I think he's a great guy. Don't get me wrong.
I'm not saying you don't, but at least he looks the part. I mean, he's not, for a guy in his early 50s, he's not falling apart cosmetically. He still looks like a...
never, ever said.
Well, you were laughing about the smoke coming out.
Oh, please. That's because he's supposed to be the bull, right?
I don't know. But you don't believe Goldberg would be a credible main eventer at WrestleMania at this point?
When's the last time you saw Goldberg wrestle? Wrestle.
That would have been against The Undertaker at Crown Jewel. Oh, no, wait a minute. He might have had his match with Ziggler after that.
How good a match was that?
For 30-second squash?
There you go. There you go.
That's what he needs.
Thank you very much.
No, I'm sorry. Goldberg's last match was against Braun Strowman at WrestleMania this year.
And what happened there?
It was very short.
Thank you very much.
It was short, sweet, and to the point.
Thank you very much.
But would you want to see Goldberg go
No.
20? No. Well, that's the point.
No.
But would you agree at least that there's a storyline for him and Reigns?
Do I think that Goldberg could be the manager if Heyman has to manage Reigns? Oh, yeah. That would be great. And then have Brock get beat by, obviously it's going to happen, Roman Reigns, but then have Heyman try to interfere and have Goldberg kick Heyman's ass. That would be a double wow. Double wow.
But
two old men fighting each other is great.
They're paying Goldberg big money for 2 matches a year. You don't think...
2 matches a year.
2 matches a year.
Vic was... Who the hell came up with that?
It was actually your friend Paul Heyman.
To bring in Goldberg.
Yes.
Why?
He's a huge supporter of Goldberg.
There you go. And they went along with it. When's his contract up?
I don't know, but I think it was a 5-year deal at 2 shows per year.
Well, don't waste it on WrestleMania.
Wow, Fabo, how do you really feel? I think they have a great storyline.
Why don't we
built
put
in.
Goldberg in a bathroom brawl? That'd be good.
Maybe he could win the 24/7
Flush him
title.
right. There you go. I'm all for that.
He can do the spear on
Nothing
R-Truth.
against a man who stays healthy, who's on the ball, and I'm talking about Goldberg.
Oh, okay.
He's well put together. Please, I wouldn't want to get in a fight with him.
No.
Let me tell you right now, I'm not knocking that end of it. I just don't think the draw factor is there, and it's not going to work. It just isn't going to work.
Well, who
Now-
would you have Roman work in the main event then? Would you? Lesnar right now isn't under contract. I'm sure that could change in the
All
snap
you're
of
going
a
to do is
finger.
call him and say,
Right.
$4 million.
But you don't want Lesnar and Roman again. What would you give Roman for?
Do you know what I would do?
What would you do?
If I could do it, I'd bring The
Reigns and
Rock
Cena.
against Roman Reigns.
Well, that's been a match that has been speculated upon. But would you do that match without fans?
No.
That's a big
that's
money
a money match.
Oh, you have to save it. You have to save it.
The Rock's going to want $5 or $6 million anyway.
Oh, at least.
Yeah, and then Reigns is going to want his payday plus a pace of the gate, and that's when Reigns quits. I got all the money I need now. I'm tribal chief. No, I'm only kidding you. Reigns is a very nice human being.
By the time this episode airs, I think there should be some kind of a clarification on WWE's immediate future because they have to be out of Amway Center in Orlando by December the 5th for the Orlando Magic to get ready for the NBA season. So they're going to need a new home. One place that has been speculated upon is the home of the Tampa Bay Rays. I think Raw and SmackDown in a baseball stadium would be a bit big, but the thought process was,
I've been
okay,
there.
if we get to the point where we can let 5,000 people in for a Royal Rumble or a WrestleMania,
Dome stadium.
it's a big 40,000 seat stadium. So I've heard of worse ideas. Maybe instead of Raymond James Stadium outside, maybe they go to the home of the
A dome
Rays.
stadium?
But you run into the problem with WrestleMania that by that point the Rays will be getting ready for the baseball season, so they'd have to move out again. So maybe they could do a Royal Rumble.
Did I just hear that they're thinking of changing the date?
WrestleMania is kind of a fluid date.
But they're changing the. I heard they
They're
were.
willing to move it if
Yeah.
they can get fans in.
I think they're going to do
and
it.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, because I think
I would hold off as long as possible to get the fans in.
personally,
for
I
WrestleMania.
really believe that once we have the new president, I believe, and you see Pfizer is already ready for approval on the vaccine. This whole thing is going to be over. Do I believe that? Excuse me, that you'll not be wearing a mask? I think you wear a mask for at least the greater part of next year. I don't see that going away at all.
And I think a lot of people will still wear them.
I do believe that, but it'll be still there. Biden will make it mandatory as soon as he takes the presidency. It'll be a national mandate. But do I believe that the COVID situation will become as serious? I think it'll start to go away. And then, and only then, when they
Be
start
like Raw
inoculating
Underground,
people.
it's just going to go away.
Because now it's going to happen. I'm going to give you a drug that says I'm not, and Pfizer, by the way, is only 90% effective. Moderna, which I think is a better drug, is 94.5%.
You've done a lot of research on this.
Well, I have, because this is a very serious time.
Well, and again, I'm not knocking you, but you've almost reached senior citizen level, so you're amongst the group that probably would get the earlier dosage.
Well, would
of
you
it.
like the truth?
Yeah.
I do not want the vaccine.
I'd like to see other people get
I'm
it
not
before
going
I
to take it.
it.
I refuse.
Oh, you don't
to
really?
I
Okay.
will. No, I'm going to refuse to take it.
All right.
I'm refusing it.
Why? Out of
Because I
curiosity.
do not believe that the tests have really been substantial enough. Although, when we had the bird flu and the HSN1, whatever the hell it was, under the Obama administration, it was 60 days, and they came up with a vaccine, and everybody said, "Wow, shoot me up." And there was no testing basically with that. So with the COVID situation, I guess the vaccine now will be, it attaches to an antibody of the COVID that attaches to your cells that now makes your cells produce a protective antibody to destroy the virus. That's why you need two of these.
So is it that you won't take it at all, or do you want to see how it reacts on
I
other
want to see
people
how the
first?
overall population reacts to it. It's just like buying a new car. Never buy it
Yeah.
the first year it comes
Do
out.
you, not to get too personal, but do you get the flu shot?
Yes.
You do. Now,
I
why
do.
do you believe in the flu shot?
Well tested, well documented.
I've never had it.
The
You
flu
think I
shot,
should get it?
I think everybody should get a flu shot. Even with the COVID-19 situation, there's nothing in that shot that's going to prevent. And remember one thing: this is this is what most people don't understand. The COVID shot itself will not immune you to the virus. It will lessen the effect, just like flu. I get the flu shot. Well, let's say the flu shot I just got covers 5 strains of flu. I better hope the hell that one of those 5 strains is out there. Yeah. We could have a whole new flu and the flu shot's going to be useless, although it will always lessen what you have. I just think that when the flu shots come out and Pfizer's already applied for release, that's going to happen under the Trump administration.
Really?
It has to.
You think it'll be that soon?
It has to.
Wow.
He has to leave on a bang, and that's one bang that he can put in his cap. Other than other stuff that he's done right. A lot wrong, but he's done right. And I said it before, I'll say it again. This presidential election was not about voting for a president. It was a vote against a man.
Either for or against one
Against
person.
Trump or for him. That's all it was. It's not
thumbs
about...
up, thumbs down.
Yeah, it's not about a president. Neither one is capable of being president.
I'll say this. You and I, we were both wrong. I don't want to get into how we voted, but I thought that Trump was going to regain the title, so to speak, and I know you did as well, and we were both wrong. So
I think, personally, do I believe all the stuff I've been hearing about voter fraud? I think there's a lot of fact to that.
Really? Do you really?
Yeah, they just came out with a news article now. There's somebody that had 8,000 ballots. There's a town that had, hypothetically, I'll give you a number, 4,300 residents with 5,600 registered voters and votes.
All right, well.
Well, but you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that the whole story is wow. Here's what I believe.
But you think there's a little smoke?
I believe
to the fire.
I believe there never should have been allowed mail-in votes. I say you should go to the polls and vote. If you're in a nursing home and incapable of voting, getting out to vote, then we should have come to you to do it. Outside of that, you open the door for fraud. And here are the very people, I'm not knocking Democrats or Republicans, but the very organization who screamed, don't believe the numbers for Trump, are now trying to tell me to believe the numbers for Biden. It doesn't make any sense. This whole thing makes no sense. So politically, let's not go there. But all I'm saying is that as far as the COVID goes, once the vaccine comes out, and it will be, I think the first round will be under his administration, then Biden will get the credit for the second. People will begin to feel more comfortable. They'll relax this whole thing because the pandemic now is an epidemic under control. Then you can open the doors to WrestleMania. And I think that in June, not April, too soon, June or July, perfect timing. I think that
it's a little hot. A little hot.
But you can't pick and choose. The fact of the matter is,
I don't care about people's health. I'm worried about the weather.
But here's the deal: if you hold it in a stadium with a dome,
then it doesn't matter.
You control.
Right. Yeah.
So there you go. So I just think that once we control the pandemic to an epidemic, there's no now you got that situation.
But they wouldn't be able to house WrestleMania in that dome because just the amount of time it would take to set up during a baseball season. But there were NFL stadiums that aren't in use. They just maybe wouldn't have it in Florida.
With a dome.
Maybe they could do it in California at that point.
Who says you have to have it in Florida? Who cares? You know what? It's all about the shekels. It's all about the ka-ching. So
the ka-ching, baby.
Wherever you have it, I've been there. I've done it. I've seen enough of them. I've been to enough of them. Wherever you have it, fans from around the world will come.
Will international fans even be allowed in?
Once we have...
Would you even go full dome?
But here's what happens.
All right, let's hear it.
Once you have the vaccine to counteract the pandemic, do you think the United States of America will be the only country to get it? No. Pfizer, Moderna, 56 million, 560 million, I forget what the number was, had come to the United States. England has got 70 million going to them. China wants 4.6 million. So it won't be this direct USA. It'll be all around the United States of America and outside of the United States. So now what you're allowing to come in, excuse me, is people who have been inoculated, vaccinated, will be able to come in and do this. So it won't be the shutdown like no foreign students are allowed to come in this year. If you're out of certain areas, they don't want you in. Look at Colorado, the Navajo Nation. You can't stop.
So if you were WWE, you'd still be looking at a full-blown stadium show, just perhaps a little later in the spring or early summer?
Absolutely. Or in the fall. If you're worried about heat, why not go in the fall?
Well, what I think really doesn't matter.
It does matter because the fans want to hear what you have to say.
I would like to see safety is the big thing to me.
I just gave you the
answer. I
answer.
don't want a socially distanced WrestleMania. I think it would look weird. I think it would feel weird.
I just gave you the answer. The answer is...
But you're that certain? You think the vaccine's going to be coming that soon, and it's an effective vaccine? That people are going to feel safe enough to want to travel?
Based on the testing, that, and I don't know if you follow this or not. I do a lot of
Not
research.
Not as close as you, apparently.
Well, human life is a very precious commodity to me, and anything that can extend it for anybody is important, and that's why I like to read the research and find out where the BS is between the lines. You know, Dr. Fauci, great guy, but he's part of a company that he owns in China. He's part of that company. His wife works for that company. Bill Gates paid for that company, or is part of it, in China that's developing a vaccine. Please is all I'm going to say. It will be effective. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. So I just think that if you wait, it will be effective. They'll prove it's effective. Society will come back, please God, to normal. We won't have all these night cases out there.
How long do you think until we're back to life as we knew it last year? Or earlier this year, I should say.
We will never be back to life as we knew it.
Even with the vaccine? Why is that?
It's not going to happen because, unfortunately, there's always going to be that reservation about, holy mackerel, could it reverse itself? Could the strain change itself? There's always going to be, let's look at working in buildings and going into work. That's all changed. You'll never go back to that. The way we do business as far as shopping, we've ruined business because now we're forced to buy online. Why do I want to walk into a building? I was at the North Shore Mall the other day to pick up Monice's birthday gift.
I'm sure six figures.
Absolutely 6 figures. 7, as a matter of fact.
7, really?
Yep.
Must have hit the jewelry store a couple of times.
I bought the Globe Miniature Golf Course for her.
Wow.
You know, my whole thing is, the mall was a ghost town. The mall was a ghost town. Very few people. People are becoming acclimated now to doing things online. And some of these companies, Macy's, JCPenney, were not as successful even with online shopping. They'll be gone. It will not be the same world as you know.
I think you can pretty much stick a fork in JCPenney, isn't it?
They're gone. They're gone. Yeah. You know, it's unfortunate. I think Macy's will be the next one to take the dive. All right. I'm sure you like the Cheesecake Factory?
Yes.
Yeah, guess what? They're closing them all.
Are they really? When did they announce that?
295 locations will be closed at the end of the year.
Is that all of them?
Every one of them.
I didn't hear that.
Every one of them.
So the lunch that I had at the one at the Natick Mall a few weeks ago could have been my last
supper.
My last sandwich at the Cheesecake Factory.
That's it. You got it.
That's a shame.
Well, but
I'd rather see the small mom and pop places survive.
Absolutely.
But I don't want to see anybody go
Olive Garden is on thin ice. IHOP is on thin ice. You know, I would imagine that Chili's would be the next one on the chopping block.
Now, why is Chili's, in your opinion, one that's in danger?
All right. So look at what happened to, and I wasn't a fan of it. There was Chili's and there was
Applebee's?
Yeah. Wasn't really a big fan of that. Their food was okay. At least Chili's had decent food. You need dollars to keep in business. It's not there. People have been, see what's happened with this whole pandemic? It's just like professional wrestling. We've been forced to other alternatives. So you find other alternatives to solve your solution. So you've got to be, and even Chili's is talking about they may end up closing some.
The forecast is getting a little chilly over at Chili's. Well,
so it will never be.
I'm a big fan of the 99, Johnny. I hope nothing happens to them.
Well, they just get bought out. They've been bought out, but their food is good. I do like the chicken.
I've never had a bad meal at the 99.
Their chicken pot pie is unbelievable. I like their short rib beef pie when they have it.
You know the menu better than I do. I
The
usually
haddock
stick
is
with
good.
the buffalo chicken fingers.
No, and as a matter
They're
of fact,
delicious.
Monique is a fan of hamburgers. She really likes the hamburgers at.
You get a good burger there too, yeah.
Yeah, and their prices are right, and there is going to make the difference, because I still stand on my premise that life as we knew it before it hit, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same. People are losing jobs. The economy is going to slide. It's not going to be life as usual anymore. When, you ask when, if it ever gets back to where we think it's life as normal, maybe 10, 15 years from now.
Wow. So
There's
even a
been-
year from now, you see change, but not
I
life
see
as we know it.
normality.
We don't see 2019.
I see normality. I don't see 2019 and 2021 or 2022. I don't see it.
Well, you're a wise man, I'll give you that. We might not always agree, but I respect your opinion an awful lot.
It's just my opinion.
Just your opinion. Well, all right, wrestling fans, I don't know how to top that. We talked a little wrestling, we talked a little COVID. Before we go, Johnny,
Sure.
did you get a chance to know Tracy Smothers at all over the years, who passed away?
I did. That was a sad day to lose another superstar. And as I say, Ernest Hemingway wrote the book, but it fits all the superstars for whom the bell tolls. And it tolls for Mr. Smothers, and a great performer, contributed great to the business. But like all of us, and I don't want you to start laughing, it's like Disney's The Lion King, it's the circle of life. And so as his father left him the legacy, so does Smothers leave the legacy to all of us of what he contributed, what he's done, and where we are.
Underrated talent. I think
Yes.
the big mistake he made was to go to WWF in 1996 in a jobber with a name type role as Freddie Joe Floyd, a rib on the Briscoes.
Oh, that was no good.
Because I don't think at that point any promotion, after seeing him as that S.D. Jones of 1996 on WWF, was ever going to push him as someone with credibility. He had a decent run as a comedy tag team figure in ECW and the FBI, but other than that, one thing I certainly respect about the man, I read in one of his obituaries that between the time he broke in until the time he passed, well, until a few months before he passed, he didn't go more than 4 days without a booking. There was a guy that was out hustling every one of those southern and Midwest states for those little tiny indies just to keep working and working and working. And that's the type that's one of the last of the Mohegans. You know what I mean?
They're coming down. They're all, yep.
It was a shame to see him go. You know what my memory of Tracy Smothers is? I remember him at Wonderland Greyhound Park in Revere, Massachusetts, before a couple of the ECW shows. He'd take some of the younger guys in the ring and he'd work out with them, where Tracy was one of the veterans and the smoother workers of what was a brawling, violent promotion. You know, he'd get in there and he'd try and teach the guys how to work a little bit. And I admire that. I mean, I don't know if he was paid to do it or not, but I respected the fact that he took the time to do it. I always look to see who are the types that'll take the time with the younger guys and try and help them on their way up. And I know this. I know Tony really wasn't moved all that much. If you saw the episode with Tony, all but said Tracy was a racist. But as far as his contributions to the world of professional wrestling go, you know what? If you can help the young guys make it a better place, take your knowledge, your mistakes, your successes, and put that in their brains, I think that's a great thing. And I know a lot of people were genuinely upset that we lost Tracy Smothers. So for someone I didn't know too well, all I know is I tip my cap to someone that gave their life to our brotherhood.
Amen.
And that's all we can say. All right, Johnny, as we wrap up the show, you know what time of year it is. 9th Annual Pallbearer, Holiday Headlocks, Toy Drive Cyber Fan Fest, baby. Everybody wants to know, when is Johnny coming on live for the autograph session? We're still trying to negotiate with his attorneys and his agents, but we're going to make it happen. Tonight, as a matter of fact, earlier tonight, we had with us Savio Vega, which was a real treat.
I worked with him, great guy.
Tomorrow night, Brian Knobbs and Jerry Sags, the Nasty Boys. Things are going to get nasty. Then this Sunday during NXT TakeOver, Johnny, it's going to be the Hall of Famer, Mr. USA, Tony Atlas, Cyber Christmas Party. What could Tony plan for Christmas?
I don't know.
Other than a free one.
Free Christmas?
Yeah.
Probably going to have chicken wings, probably going to have barbecue.
I'm going to need one of those plastic face guards.
We'll
He's
get
going
you
to
one.
have the chicken
We'll get
wings.
you one. We'll get you one.
And then don't forget, next Friday night before John Cena Sr.'s Fabulous Fridays. We'll have the Warlord with us. Next Saturday, Tatanka. And then next Sunday, the Future Star Superstar double feature. We have Ring of Honor competitor, Yuta Wheeler. I'm say that wrong again. It's Wheeler Yuta, because I get it confused with the baby's name. But anyway, Wheeler Yuta, who competed in the Ring of Honor Pure Title Tournament, is going to be with us to talk about his budding career. And the new Impact Wrestling World Champion, old friend Rich Swann, for the first time in 8 years, joins us in the hot seat.
Great man.
But
Please say hi.
We got to get you.
Don't worry about me. Get the famous people.
Well, they're already booked.
Well, then.
I'll tell you this. I don't know if Rich Swann has official Impact Wrestling World Champion socks, though.
I'd book Santa Claus before I'd book me.
Now, do you want to know why I think those could be a great success once life comes back to normal for the live events?
Why is that?
Think about Mick Foley pulling one of those out of his trousers.
Oh, doing Socko?
Doing Socko with your face on his hand.
I don't want to talk about the sock's bin.
All right. Well, we'd have to talk to Margot about that.
Another story for another time.
All right, wrestling fans, for the fabulous one, Mr. John Cena Sr., I'm Dan Marty. Don't forget, 9th Annual Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive Cyber Fan Fest, BostonWrestling.com. The Patreon is rocking. Information in the description box below. We got the great merchandise on eBay where you get an on-air thank you from WWE Hall of Famer Tony Atlas. That's ongoing. Most of the great merchandise you see here can be yours for the holidays and beyond. And of course, if you're chatting with us on Friday night during the premiere, the super chat button is open. Buy us a drink. Don't forget to tip the bartender, as they say. You're not much of a drinker, though.
I don't drink.
Ever?
I have a glass
Little
of brandy.
wine now and then.
I make my own wine.
You make your own wine? Now, how do you make your own wine?
With grapes, usually that's how it starts.
I'm still trying to figure out the Red Lobster biscuits. Well, for John Cena Sr., I'm Dan Marty, folks. Continue to enjoy the holiday season. Continue to enjoy the Christmas season. Until we speak again, you and yours, be well, stay healthy. Good night.
Wrestling fans, can you feel it? The 9th Annual Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive Cyber Fan Fest explodes into December. We can't bring you a live wrestling event in 2020, but we're bringing you a plethora of live interviews and virtual autograph signings to continue our tradition of updating Santa's GPS to find every kid's home. This Friday night, December the 11th, we're joined by the massive Warlord in studio. This Saturday, December the 12th, Native American Tatanka joins us for the toy drive for the very first time. Then this Sunday, December the 13th, it's a doubleheader of Future Star Superstars, is the new Impact Wrestling World Champion Rich Swann joins us for the first time in studio in 8 years, along with up-and-comer Wheeler Yuta, who recently competed in the Ring of Honor Pure Title Tournament, along with competing here in Boston Wrestling MWF. John Cena Sr. will also have a live episode and is working the phone lines on the North Pole to try and make this year's drive even bigger. Individual autographs and an all-inclusive VIP package is available online now. If you order your signed photos before or during the live appearances, the superstars will sign them on the air and then mailed directly to your home. If you want a VIP package but you missed some of the superstars' live appearances, don't worry. They've signed enough photos and posters for us to ship to you by December the 19th. If that wasn't enough, we're working on items for our annual mega raffle where one lucky fan will walk away with a huge jackpot of prizes, all to benefit the toy drive and honor the memory of the late, great Paul Bearer, who helped myself and John Cena Sr. start this endeavor in 2012. Head on over to BostonWrestling.com to get your orders in now. Let's create smiles in 2020.